Welcome to another episode of Women Investing in Women. Robin and I are absolutely delighted to be bringing another conversation with another impactful woman. And you may ask, Cass, why do you and Robin do this week after week after week? And let me tell you, we live in a world where women and women's rights and opportunities for women are limited, creating that scarcity mentality and scarcity environment. And in order to thrive in that environment, women have to live through those experiences. And how do we create an environment where women actually lift each other up, support each other, and thrive is shifting that scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. And doing that together with women and bringing like-minded women together is the only way to move the conversation. And for that, we are super excited, and you're going to love the woman we have on our program today. You're going to love the conversation with her. Robin, take it away.
Okay, I am so excited. I am holding up her book, Leading Women. And I was in the local FedEx office store in La Crescenta, California, waiting for a poster to be made for a conference. And I always browse their books because I'm always finding something interesting. And I see this on the shelf. I said, oh my gosh, I've got to have that. Started reading it. Awesome. And I thought, I'm just going to go on LinkedIn and find this Nancy D. O'Reilly and ask her to be in our program. And here she is. And so that's how I got to know her. And so Nancy, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that, that you're a psychologist, you're a women's empowerment leader. Tell us a little bit about you, your purpose, and how this book came to be. And you see, I have a few little tabs here. So when it comes around my turn to ask another question, I have some ready to go. So tell us about yourself.
Okay. Well, like I said, wonderful introduction, by the way. Thank you so much. Yes, I am a psychologist. And actually, when I take my passion and my purpose, I do my passion. My passion are horses. I have my own equestrian center here in Southern California, and we're a destination. Horses have taught me so much. I think I want to use them for women's leadership. Horses have literally saved my life. But my purpose, and you've explained that very well, is that when women come together, when women come together, so much happens, and support is key. The Women Connect4Good Foundation was founded on that premise, and that premise alone is that when women, the mission is women supporting other women in their passion, their dreams, their aspirations, and all of their goals. And that was started. The foundation began in 2012. So from that time till today, there's been books, there's been podcasts, and we continue to educate the population. When women support each other, anything is possible. And by the way, it's also about leaving a legacy for my 3 daughters and my 7 granddaughters. So for me, it's very much a passion, and also leaving a legacy for my daughters that they know that they can do anything when they support one another and support other women. So that's pretty much it. Much more.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nancy. That is music to my ears. It is something that we need more of. And as you have embarked on this journey since 2012, and you've been a psychologist, so you're dealing with women, you are understanding some of those sources of conflict that has gotten us to where we are today in society. What are some of the concerns you have in terms of what women face, and any words of wisdom on how we can come together as a collective, including men who are allies to us, on how to overcome those concerns?
Well, one of the books that I've written also is called We're in This Together. Nobody gets anywhere alone. Nobody gets anywhere alone. The I, me, my, mine people really don't exist anymore. It's the we people. It's us that get us there. But as far as, again, some of the concerns are COVID didn't help any of the women's rights. And now we have Roe versus Wade being dismissed, which again is another issue that has really taken women back many steps. I have a good friend, Tiffany Shalane, said to me, and we were talking, she said, I have a 20-year-old daughter that I had more rights as a 20-year-old that she does today. So the thing is that we have to remember that we have to unite, and we have to have male sponsors and male advocates to get there. But when we come together, we've got to continue to look at what's there and how we can change it. But building a community of like-minded women and men is how we're going to do that. And we have many people that are working on the laws, continuing to challenge some of the things that are going on in our culture right now, and we have to continue to do that. But again, but it's all about support, and it's all about making sure that we continue to use our voices, get a seat at the table of the decision making, and to make sure that we're heard, and that we continue to find ways that we can continue to elevate women in gender equity and gender equality, and again, get that ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment, passed in the Constitution as the 28th Amendment. It's been 100 years since that was created. All the states have ratified it. We're still waiting for just a couple of more things. I think we've got 7 congressmen that we have to woo to get this thing finally published in the Constitution. Once it's published, then we have to learn how it works, because our society has been very patriarchal. We want to make sure that women are involved in the financial aspect and the decision making when it comes to making change in our country.
I'm really loving the notion of bringing voices to the table, and also what you said toward the beginning of your comments, that no one gets anywhere alone. Everyone needs somebody, and groups of somebodies. I'm going to ask one of my questions out of your book, because this so intrigued me. It's in your acknowledgments where you're thanking people, and you said, "My high school counselor who set me on fire by telling me to forget about college and look into secretarial school." There's got to be a story behind that. So tell me about that experience.
Well, I wasn't a great student. I did not really enjoy the typical academic courses. I was a kind of a freak. I was always different. I'm a second born, always different, always kind of, the rules are for other people. And when I sat down with him, because again, I was getting close to my graduation, and he looked at me and said, looked at my grades, looked at me, and he said, you really need to start thinking about what you're going to be doing. And he looked at me and said, "Secretarial school." I looked at him and absolutely not. That's not going to ever happen to me. And it's interesting. He really did. I guess he put me back on my heels, because I thought about it and I realized, but see, I always worked through high school. That way I had money and I had a car. And typically I had a managerial position. So I always, wherever I worked, I was pretty much in charge. So it was just really good for him to get me, kind of take me back on my heels, and I'm frozen again. But anyway, the thing is that once I started my education and found what I was truly involved with, I have three undergraduate degrees. I have a master's and I have a doctorate. So poo-poo on him. But really, sometimes you need a person in your life that kind of lights you up and says, "Wait a minute, what are you doing?" And maybe that was his way of getting my attention and making sure that I started really thinking about what I wanted to do in my life. So I think I should thank him.
That is amazing. And we all have somebody who rubbed us the wrong way, and we have to prove that they are wrong and we are right. And that is a good motivator. And I'm glad that you're addressing that in the book. I want to go back and pick up from the last comment you made about needing to pass that 28th Amendment. And you also mentioned we have so many congressmen to influence. And yeah. I'm an immigrant, born and raised in Sri Lanka, so I come from a different world. And to see so many men representing us in a country of 51% women, 49% men, and men making decisions on what to do with us, our body, our mind, the very existence of us, when they don't have a womb, they don't have hormones, they don't have anything that helps them function the way we do. What can we do to change that? Because if we are going to change public policy, we need to change the policymakers.
Yeah. Equality Now, there are organizations, as I said, I'm on the board of the Equal Rights Amendment Coalition. It is involving, but there's over 300 organizations that are members of the coalition. And all of these coalitions are working towards the passage of the 28th Amendment, the Equal Rights Amendment, being passed and put into the Constitution. And again, we need to continue to look at the laws. But again, numbers are key, and of course, lobbying and going to these congressmen and continuing to talk about what we need, and we have to get this passed. We actually had a march from the White House to the Capitol, and we went to the Justice Department. You just have to keep ringing that bell. Just keep at it. And so we're not done. We have an LA convening coming up here in Los Angeles. We're bringing in people. We're not done. We're just continuing to work towards the passage, because it's the only thing that truly equal rights, equal pay, equal health care, equal education, equal safety, women's safety. It's all about, we wouldn't have to worry about reproductive rights. We would not have to think about any of that. If the Equal Rights Amendment is passed, all those things are given. But then they will need to be interpreted in each part of the country, how that works. But there are many, many organizations right now, over 300 around the country, that are working towards that goal. So we're not done. There's lots going on in the background. A lot of people don't know about, but I'm very involved. I'm on the National Women's History Museum Board. We need to continue to tell our story, tell where we've come from. And we do come from a place of abundance, not one of scarcity. And women need to understand that. We've always had the talents. We've always had the ability to do the things that we need to do to make this country great. But women need to have other women tell them, to show them that they can read, hear, and know about, for examples, to help them to become involved, because it's going to take all of us. We're one of the few countries that have not had major leadership as far as a president. It's really almost sad to think about that we don't have the leadership that we need. But you have to support the woman candidate. You have to make sure that she is elevated. And you use the term lift up. Lift up is part of our campaign. You have to lift her up, but you have to support her. And it's going to take money. And this is something women have to understand also. Get used to the idea of having money, using money as a vehicle and a tool to get you where you need to go. That's very, very important. Women are going to be coming into more money than they've ever been in this coming few years ahead. And so we've got to take control of our money, but we have to take control of what we want. And it's going to take us to gather up all those women to do just that, and men as well. But we have the tools, we have the resources. We just have to use them and continue to use them and find others to do the same.
This reminds me of I've read a couple of books on when the suffrage was passed, and how many years it took, from Seneca Falls to Tennessee when it was finally passed in 1920, and just the long journey and the circuitous journey that it took to go there. And in looking at kind of coming back to your book again, how were you able to collect these women? There's 20 women, or 19, 20 plus you. How were you able to find the women and focus them? The book covers 3 areas: mastering your external environment, your internal environment, and then connecting together. And tell us about the evolution of finding these women, bringing them together, and each of them having a different perspective on these notions.
Well, I began doing podcasts many, many years ago. And again, finding these women, looking for books, looking for women that were doing similar things. And the key was, again, going back to the mission of Women Connect for Good, was women that were supporting the efforts and the passion and the dreams of other women. And all the women in this book were doing just that. And then in different areas. I've continued to do that. All my podcasts are women and men who are doing just that. So each one of the women that was chosen fit the bill. They were the ones doing the good work to help other women. And since that time, they've all become a part of my community, of our community, not mine, our community. and we continue to partner and collaborate. That's how it's going to happen. We've got to continue to grow the group and find others and have them join. Right now our community is so large and continues to grow, and I hope that you all will join that community as well. And again, Lift Women Up campaign, become a part of that. So I don't ever have a conversation with someone that I don't believe is not going to become a part of that community and become a force to make those changes.
We are absolutely delighted to not just feature you here, Dr. Nancy, but also join forces and support the cause, be a part of the community, bring our community along for the ride. Because the more ecosystems unite, we are going to get to the tipping point, and we need to get there. So absolutely, without a doubt. And what's coming up for me as we are talking is so many states in the United States, one by one, are bastardizing the terms equality and equity, and even making grants and state government fundings unavailable. I asked this question especially as a part-time executive director of a not-for-profit called Equip Our Kids. Equip Our Kids works with all the states of the United States for K through 12 social emotional learning. And we have to actually modify our language and our presence and how we approach institutions of education in different states because of this. And the more we make it difficult, the more it becomes taboo. Any advice for us and women out there who are trying to walk that balance in terms of how best to navigate the man-made toxicity?
Yeah.
And I literally mean man-made.
You're absolutely right on that. One of the things that's going on at Mount St. Mary's University in Los Angeles, every year they have the status of women and girls. This is actually a report full of data, and I urge you to go find the data on this. But they talk about, when you have statistics and when you have information, and I'm frozen again, but when you have information, when you have information, then you can go to funders saying, this is what we need, this is why we're doing what we're doing. Then you also can show data that once funding is available, what the outcome is. But this is a wonderful report put out every year by the Mount St. Mary's University in Los Angeles. In fact, we're having the LA convening there this week. But with information, then you can start to really fuel the fire to make the change. But again, it's really about right now. In fact, there was just a wonderful program in Montecito. It was called the Giving List. We know the reason it was actually even had is because less than 2% of funding goes to women and girls programming. We know that, but we have to continue to talk about that and have other organizations understand this is what we need to change. And at that event, also there were over 200 organizations there, and these were women and girls programs that when we come together, we can do anything. And again, it's information, it's awareness, it's key. And the more we get information out there, the more that we can join forces with one another. When we're alone, we don't get that far. As I said, nobody gets anywhere alone, but the more we join. And one of the things that I want to say is we call them social profit, not non-for-profit. Social profit, just think of all the social profit organizations. If they went away today, what the world would be like. So start to think about in terms of what you're producing as a social profit organization and what would disappear if you no longer existed. If none of them existed, this country would not even function. It would not even be a country of any consequence if all the social profit organizations disappeared. But again, it's all about support. It's getting together with other organizations. And again, awareness is key. Education is key. What you do is important, but not everybody knows about how wonderful you are. You have to continue to do the social media. You have to continue to reach out. And all the issues that you can change and the things that you can change in your community because of your organization.
That is absolutely fascinating that you use the word social profit, not nonprofit, because I'm actually very involved in a nonprofit, a music organization. Suzuki Music Program of Los Angeles, our 50th anniversary this year. Got to put a plug in for that. I'm going to start calling it a social profit. I love that. I'm going to adopt that terminology, because there's another phrase, words make worlds. A wonderful quote by Dr. David Cooperrider of Case Western University. And words make worlds. So our words will make worlds, as you are very, very carefully, very aptly saying. With every guest, we say the time flies by. And so before that we wrap this up, we want to know, how can people get a hold of you and a hold of any organizations that you're with? And we would like to hear one or two last golden nuggets that you have for any of the women or men who will be listening to this later when it's released. So how can we get a hold of you, and some golden nuggets? You've already shared a lot, but a few more.
Well, just go to drnancyoreilly.com. You can go there. Women Connect for Good Foundation. Any of those will take you right to my website. And most importantly, the Lift Women Up campaign. We have 52 weeks of something women can do every single week, every single day, to lift another woman up. If we all lifted as we rose, and this is what you're doing today for me, you're lifting as you're rising with me. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. I really appreciate that. But we want you to join the campaign. We want you to become a part of our community, of this building wonderful community of men and women, that when we do support each other, some of the things that are very important that women need to do is ask for help. And this is a golden nugget, but this is asking for help. And look at my mouth. Asking for help. And you know, when somebody asks you for help, it really is an honor, if you stop and think about it. Because the one thing that can happen when you do ask someone for help, you can turn around and give them help as well. And there's just something phenomenal. And this is actually where Women Connect for Good came from. A woman said to me, "You really want to help me?" I said, "Absolutely, I want to help you." It changed the whole situation with us, because she realized somebody actually wanted to help her. So the golden nuggets are using your voice, getting a seat at the table, asking for what you want, and continue to create awareness and understanding of what's going on. And that 2% of funding, only 2% of funding and investing goes to women and girls. We need to change that number. We need to change that now. And there are organizations out there that are doing just that. So join, learn, and grow. And I mean, the most important thing is that you continue to do what you all are doing, which is reaching out, talking to women like myself who are continuing to do the tough work, the good work, and we're not done, and we've got to keep working at it. And I know that when we all come together, more can happen. You put 5 women in a room, we can do anything. And that's what we have to continue to remember.
That is a beautifully stated message. And I don't think any of us can top that. So thank you so much, Dr. Nancy, for what you do, what you tirelessly build. And you're building a legacy, not just for your daughters and granddaughters that are biological. You're building a legacy for us women. And Robin and I are super excited to be a part of this journey and join forces. And to our audience out there, you heard Dr. Nancy say, we are not going anywhere alone. We need to take this journey together. And we are only as strong as all of us coming together. And what affects one of us definitely affects all of us. So let's put our small differences aside and understand the fact that our very existence is predicated on us taking perspective and coming from what unites us and truly changing the trajectory so that we women have not just a seat at the table, but we get to build those tables and we get to drive the future of every environment we're a part of.